push yourself to work when you don't feel like it. Most of us have been there. You wake up, see a stack of responsibilities before you, and instantly feel a knot in your stomach. Maybe you have a looming project deadline, or you promised yourself you'd finally tackle that personal goal, but your mind just isn't in it. You're mentally exhausted, physically sluggish, or emotionally distracted, and the simple act of starting feels like an uphill battle. In these moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by guilt or frustration. After all, the world rarely waits for us to get in the mood. Deadlines arrive, bills need paying, and life keeps rolling. Yet there's a silver lining. Even if your motivation has temporarily evaporated, you can still learn to push yourself to work and stay productive. This isn't about forcing yourself into a joyless grind. Rather, it's about developing strategies that help you overcome inertia and accomplish what truly matters, even on days when your energy is low. In the following sections, we'll explore various techniques, ranging from building mental resilience to shaping your environment, that can nudge you into action. Whether you're a student facing a mountain of assignments or a professional juggling multiple demands, these insights will help you maintain momentum. By the end, you'll have a toolbox of approaches to push yourself when it's least comfortable, ensuring that short-lived moods don't derail your long-term goals. 1. Recognize your why and keep it visible. One major factor that determines whether you'll push through lethargy is the strength of your why. This isn't a vague sense of obligation, but a deeper understanding of why you're doing what you do. Perhaps you're saving for a family vacation, aiming to impress a prospective employer, or working toward a passionate dream. When the reason behind your tasks is clearly defined, your brain is more likely to view the challenge as worthwhile rather than drudgery. Clarify your purpose. Start by writing down your core motivations. Are you working to gain financial independence, master a new skill, improve your relationships? Seeing these motivations in black and white can be illuminating. Make it tangible. Keep reminders visible. This could be a post-it note on your desk, a vision board on your wall, or a daily alarm on your phone that reminds you of your broader ambitions. These cues act as gentle nudges for your subconscious mind, which can help trigger action. Realign when needed. Our motivations can shift over time. Maybe your initial reasons for working hard no longer resonate. Rather than ignoring this shift, adapt and update your list of motivations. Staying aligned with authentic desires ensures you're more likely to push forward, even on days when your mood is subpar. By continually revisiting and reinforcing your why, you anchor your actions in a meaningful context. Motivation may ebb and flow, but a well-defined purpose acts like a lighthouse, guiding you through temporary waves of disinterest or fatigue. Number 2. Shift your mindset from all or nothing to incremental progress. Perfectionism and an all-or-nothing mentality can cripple our willingness to work. If we believe a task must be done flawlessly or not at all, we risk feeling paralyzed when we aren't operating at peak performance. Ironically, the fear of not doing something well enough can lead us to avoid doing it altogether. Instead, consider reframing your approach. 1. Embrace micro steps. Rather than focusing on the entire project or the end result, commit to the smallest possible next action. If you're writing a report, start by jotting down a rough outline. If you need to clean your apartment, tackle just one corner of one room. By reducing the scope, you lower the psychological barrier to starting. 2. Celebrate tiny milestones. Each small achievement, writing a single paragraph, replying to 3 important emails, or filing a set of documents, creates a small burst of satisfaction. Over time, these micro-successes compound, fueling motivation to proceed to bigger tasks. 3. Use the 15-minute rule. Promise yourself you'll work on the task for just 15 minutes. At the end of those 15 minutes, if you truly want to stop, you can. More often than not, though, you'll find yourself continuing beyond that initial window, because starting is the hardest part. Shifting your perspective toward incremental gains helps strip away the paralyzing dread that often accompanies large undertakings. Small, consistent steps can add up to monumental progress, ensuring you keep moving even on days when you're less than eager. Number 3. Strategically optimize your workspace and environment. Your physical surroundings exert a powerful influence on your mindset and energy levels. Think about times when you felt naturally productive. Maybe you were in a neat, well-lit room, or you listened to energizing music in your headphones. By contrast, a cluttered desk or noisy environment can sap motivation and push you deeper into procrastination. Here are some tips to align your environment with your goals. Declutter. Take 5 minutes to clear your immediate workspace of unnecessary objects. A less crowded area can help reduce mental friction, making it easier to focus. Adjust lighting and temperature. If you're too cold or the lighting is dim, your body and mind may drift into a more lethargic state. Aim for a comfortably bright and temperature-controlled setting. Exposure to natural light can be especially helpful in lifting your mood. Harness soundscapes. For some, absolute silence works best. Others benefit from ambient music or white noise. Experiment to identify what keeps you engaged without distracting you. There are countless playlists specifically designed to enhance concentration, featuring instrumental music or calming nature sounds. Set boundaries. Let those around you know when you're in focus mode. If you work in a shared home or a busy office, consider using noise-canceling headphones or posting a small sign that signals you'd prefer not to be disturbed. When your environment encourages rather than impedes your focus, you're more likely to push through moments of reluctance. Small modifications can create a ripple effect, helping you build momentum, sustain concentration, and make real progress. Number 4, pre-commit and use accountability to your advantage. Sometimes, the main challenge is that we're only accountable to ourselves, making it too easy to let tasks slide. When external accountability enters the picture, we often find ourselves more motivated to follow through because we don't want to let someone else down or tarnish our reputation. Ways to inject accountability. Buddy system. Team up with a friend, colleague, or family member. Share your goals, then schedule regular check-ins, daily, weekly, or monthly, to discuss your progress. This mutual responsibility often provides an extra push on days when you'd rather slack off. Public commitments. Announce your intentions publicly. Post on social media about your project deadline, or tell your coworkers you'll submit the report by a specific date. The awareness that others are expecting results can spur you to keep going when internal motivation falters. Professional coaching. In some cases, working with a mentor or coach can help you stay on track. A professional can give you structured feedback, set clear milestones, and hold you accountable for hitting them. Digital tools, productivity apps, and project management software can also keep you accountable. Some apps enable you to form small groups and share real-time updates on tasks. Others let you set up automated reminders or track daily progress streaks. By weaving accountability into your life, you introduce an external layer of motivation. This doesn't mean you're no longer internally driven. It simply means you have a fallback system in place for moments when your personal resolve wavers. Practice self-compassion. While maintaining high standards, it might seem contradictory to show yourself kindness while also pushing for high achievement. Yet, this duality can be the key to sustained productivity. If you're too harsh on yourself, you may crumble under pressure or burn out quickly. On the other hand, too much leniency can lead to a lax approach that undermines your ambitions. Striking the balance. Acknowledge your feelings. On days when you genuinely feel drained or are wrestling with emotional stress, it's okay to admit you're not at 100%. Recognize these feelings without judging yourself as lazy or inept. Practice positive self-talk. Instead of berating yourself for low energy, shift to a supportive coaching tone. I'm tired, but I can still handle the next 30 minutes effectively. Adopting a friendlier internal dialogue can lift your spirits and encourage incremental progress. Set realistic yet challenging goals. If your goals are consistently too easy, you won't grow. If they're perpetually out of reach, you risk constant discouragement. Try the Goldilocks approach, picking tasks that stretch your abilities but remain feasible. Reward yourself in healthy ways. After pushing through a challenging task or an unproductive mood, recognize the effort you made. A small treat or a relaxing break can reinforce positive behavior. Just ensure that your reward system aligns with your broader objectives, e.g., treat yourself to a healthy snack or a brief walk rather than an entire day of Netflix. Self-compassion isn't about letting yourself off the hook for everything. It's about treating yourself with fairness and empathy, which ultimately makes it more feasible to keep high standards over the long term. 6. Use routines and rituals to jumpstart your day. One of the best ways to push yourself when you're not feeling up to it is to lean on habitual behavior. Routines and rituals reduce the mental strain involved in decision-making, making it easier to slip into work mode without overthinking. Morning rituals. Hydration and movement. Start your day by drinking a glass of water and doing some gentle stretching or a short walk. This routine can fire up your metabolism and lift your energy levels. Brief planning session. Take 5 or 10 minutes to outline your priorities for the day. Writing down your top tasks clarifies your intentions and sets a productive tone. Mindfulness or journaling. Some people find it helpful to journal or engage in a brief mindfulness practice. Even a 2-minute breathing exercise can center your thoughts, helping you approach the day more calmly and purposefully. Workday rituals. Scheduled breaks. Instead of working in long, uninterrupted stretches, plan short breaks every hour or so. Use a timer to ensure you work consistently during your on time and truly rest or stretch during your off time. Physical cues. Something as simple as putting on noise-canceling headphones or lighting a scented candle can become a signal that it's time to focus. Over time, these cues will train your mind to switch gears into a productive state. Evening wind down. Reflect on accomplishments. Jot down 3 things you achieved or learned during the day. This builds a sense of progress and gratitude. Set tomorrow's intentions. Spend a couple of minutes noting which tasks need top priority the next day, so you don't lie awake worrying about them or wake up feeling lost. By embedding your work tasks into daily rituals, you remove the question of, do I feel like working right now? Instead, you slip into a rhythmic pattern that sustains momentum. 7. Apply the principle of future self-visualization. Sometimes, pushing yourself requires stepping back and imagining the person you'd like to be in 6 months, a year, or even 5 years. If you continuously make decisions that favor immediate comfort, you might be sabotaging the opportunities and well-being of your future self. Visualization tips. Craft a clear image. Picture who you'll be if you maintain consistent effort. Imagine the skills you'll develop, the projects you'll complete, and the confidence you'll gain. Contrast method. Also envision the opposite scenario. If you frequently succumb to laziness or procrastination, what will life look like a year from now? Often, this contrast can jolt you out of short-term complacency. Identify habits required. Think about the daily routines or character traits your future self must possess. Discipline, resilience, creativity, etc. Then, challenge yourself to act like that person today, even if it feels slightly forced at first. Looking through the lens of your future self can be surprisingly motivating. When you recognize that your everyday actions shape the person you become, it becomes harder to brush off tasks with, "I don't feel like it." Instead, you frame those tasks as investments in your own development. Number 8. Harness the power of focused sprints. Long, unstructured stretches of work can feel daunting, especially when motivation is low. Instead, experiment with focused sprints to break down your workload into more manageable pieces. T approaches. Pomodoro technique. Work intensely for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 such cycles, extend your break to 15 or 20 minutes. This method combats mental fatigue and provides frequent checkpoints to reflect on progress. Task batching. Group similar tasks like responding to emails, making phone calls, or coding in a single session. This approach leverages cognitive momentum, meaning you won't have to switch contexts as often. Define sprint goals. Before you start a sprint, clarify exactly what you aim to achieve, e.g., write 300 words of this report or process 10 emails. The more precise you are, the easier it is to assess whether you succeeded. Sprints add structure to your workflow and make the process feel more game-like. Each sprint is an isolated challenge, achievable even if you're not feeling 100%. Over time, repeated sprints lead to substantial accomplishments. Number 9. Lean on inspiration and curiosity. While intrinsic motivation is powerful, external inspiration can also provide the spark you need to initiate action. Sometimes, you just need a small boost from an outside source to tip you into a work-ready mindset. Curated content. Keep a playlist of motivational talks, podcasts, or music that energizes you. If you find yourself stalling, spend a few minutes absorbing this content to reignite your passion. Learn something new. If you're stuck in a rut, consider pausing to research a small aspect of your task that intrigues you. For instance, if you're writing a paper, dive into a tangential topic that might offer a fresh angle. Curiosity often fuels renewed enthusiasm. Success stories. Reading about or listening to the journeys of high achievers can remind you that setbacks and sluggish days are universal. Knowing others overcame similar hurdles can reinforce your own determination to push ahead. Don't rely solely on external inspiration. Eventually, you want your own goals to propel you. Still, a dose of inspiring content or a short exploration of something fascinating can act as a quick jolt to your system when you're dragging. Tip 10. Address underlying issues: stress, sleep, nutrition. Lack of motivation isn't always about mental attitude alone. Physical well-being plays a massive role in your ability to work consistently. If your body is worn out or undernourished, no amount of pep talks or productivity hacks will fully compensate. Prioritize sleep. Chronic sleep deprivation lowers cognitive function, creativity, and mood stability. Make an effort to establish a regular sleep schedule and aim for 7 to 9 hours per night. Stress management. Prolonged stress can lead to burnout, making it far harder to push yourself productively. Incorporate stress relief methods such as mindfulness, yoga, or simple hobbies that help you decompress. Balance nutrition. Fuel your brain with healthy meals that offer sustained energy: whole grains, lean proteins, fruits, and vegetables. Spikes and crashes in blood sugar from excessive caffeine or sugary snacks can hamper your focus over the long term. Hydration and movement. Even minimal amounts of daily exercise, like a short walk or a light workout, can improve mood and energy levels. Combine that with consistent hydration to keep your brain functioning optimally. By addressing these foundational elements, you reduce the physiological barriers to productivity. When your body is well cared for, it's much easier to respond when you demand extra effort from yourself. 11. Reframe anxiety and fear into positive pressure. A significant reason we avoid work is fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, or even fear of success. This anxiety can paralyze us. Rather than resisting or denying fear, practice reframing it as positive pressure that signals you're doing something meaningful. 1. Acceptance. Recognize that feeling nervous or apprehensive typically means you care about the outcome. If you didn't care, you'd be indifferent. 2. Channel the adrenaline. Stress hormones can be harnessed for focus if you interpret them correctly. Think of them as your body gearing up for action, like an athlete before a big match. 3. Mitigate the unknown. If part of your fear is a lack of clarity, break the project into smaller, fully defined steps. Each piece becomes less intimidating when you know exactly what it entails. By transforming anxiety into a signal of opportunity, you shift from "I'm scared, so I'll do nothing" to "I'm a bit anxious, but let me use this energy to dive in." Over time, this reframing strengthens your resilience, allowing you to push ahead despite trepidation. 12. Reflect and pivot when necessary. Finally, remember that productivity isn't about a rigid march through an unchanging plan. Sometimes, pushing yourself includes recognizing when a task or project has become misaligned with your values or goals. If you persist too long on a path that no longer serves you, you might burn out or grow resentful of your own choices. Periodic check-ins. Every week or month, set aside time to evaluate your progress and emotional state. Ask, am I still convinced this work aligns with my bigger aspirations? Course corrections. If you find you're repeatedly dreading a certain project or encountering constant roadblocks, determine whether you need to adjust your approach, timeline, or priorities. New challenges. Sometimes your lack of enthusiasm signals it's time to seek a new challenge. Growth often happens when we push ourselves out of comfort zones, but not if we're pushing in the wrong direction. Balancing perseverance with adaptability ensures you're not pushing yourself fruitlessly. Instead, you remain engaged and passionate, ready to tackle challenges because they genuinely move you closer to what you value most. Conclusion. There will always be days when you'd rather crawl back under the covers or scroll through social media than face your to-do list. Yet, the difference between stagnation and steady progress often boils down to how you respond when motivation is low. By refining your environment, setting up accountability systems, managing stress, and nudging yourself into action, even if only in small increments, you cultivate a personal culture of productivity. Rather than relying on fleeting bursts of inspiration, you create conditions under which forward momentum feels inevitable. You don't need to be in the zone every time you sit down to work. You just need enough structure and self-awareness to keep your feet moving on the path you've chosen. Over time, these strategies shape you into a person who can push through doubts and distractions, not with brute force alone, but with a balanced, proactive approach. Ultimately, pushing yourself to work when you don't feel like it is about more than meeting deadlines or checking boxes. It's about learning to dance with your own psychology, knowing when to gently coax, when to firmly insist, and when to adapt if your goalposts have shifted. Embrace the days of low motivation as training grounds for building resilience. In doing so, you'll find that progress isn't about waiting for perfect conditions, but rather about forging ahead even in imperfect ones. By employing these tips consistently, you'll prove to yourself that you can indeed push through and thrive, no matter how you feel at the start of the day.